Hello everybody, this is Anna Charles coming in to you for Wine Free Wednesday, and you will notice I am a couple of minutes late here. Now my reason for this is I am currently on the road. I'm going to lots of different sites, I'm visiting lots of different people, I'm staying on top of my client work, I'm doing all of the things. And I have been creating plans in order to aid this journey. Now, so what I want to talk about today is planning and excuses. Now, for those of you who've been following me for a while, you will know, and I always want to say this in case or when I have new people joining me, there are four main elements to what I teach. The first is mindset, right? This is all about our thoughts, how we're thinking about us and our relationship with alcohol. The second is skills. There are skills that we can learn. There are skills that I can teach. I teach my clients skills and tools, things to do in different situations, how to think, what to make of things. It's skills. It's just learning how to do this. There is purpose, right? The purpose, why we drink, why we want to drink, what it means about us if we drink, what it means about us if we don't have a drink. And then fourthly, identity, who we become in this process, right? We are not we're not what we drink, but it's more, so much more than that. Now, you will notice in me saying those four things, I haven't said anything about you just got to be really good and you just got to say no and you just got to barrel through, right? It's all about mindset, skills, purpose, and identity. And one of the things I see a lot and that I want to talk about a lot, and I think this fits into the mindset category, are the excuses and are the stories that we tell ourselves. I was just listening to a podcast where it was talking about we don't even realize the stories we tell ourselves. And in fact, if you can imagine that every story you tell yourself about yourself and your relationship with alcohol, if you could imagine it was said in a very deep tannoy voice, right? It might maybe one of those voices that you hear, the tannoy sounds that you hear in a station. It would sound very jarring and you'd probably pay attention and you'd probably listen to it and you'd have some, you'd have a reaction to that. Whereas what happens is we have these stories that are in our minds and we actually don't see them as stories. It was just who we are, right? It just becomes who we are. Now, I was thinking, I'm on this trip, I've got all these things on, I've just moved into a hotel, I mean the whole thing. It would have been so easy to say, and I'm not going to do Wine Free Wednesday. I'm not going to go live on Facebook. I'm not going to do this. Right? I'd have had all the reasons for doing this. And I always say excuses are reasons in sheep's clothing, right? Because they are dangerous. They are out there and they are crafting our reality. Would have been so easy to do that. Like it is so easy to say, oh, it's sunny. My friend has bought me this drink. And she paid £11 for it or $15 for it or whatever. And it is rather lovely and it does look very pretty and it is the summer and even though I decided I wasn't going to have a drink today, it just seems rude. Maybe you've got one of these excuses where it just seems rude and you can kind of talk yourself in to what you want to be, to doing something that actually goes against what you wanted. So, you might be sitting there, sorry about wobbling the camera here. You might be sitting there thinking, well, yeah, I want to do Wine Free Wednesday. I've been following along, Anna, but it's too sunny and I'm going out to dinner tonight and I just want you to consider that these are just excuses and you are just giving lots of weight to them. And I want you to ask, how different would your life be if you could look to these excuses, you could see these excuses and you could just see them for what they are. They are excuses. They're not instructions. They are not orders. This is not what you have to do. You still have free will. You still have choice. So if you're sitting there thinking, I'm not sure if I want to do Wine Free Wednesday tonight, I'm going to encourage you, if you decided that you were going to, that you stick through that, but not in a fighting kind of way, but in the way to say, okay, what story am I telling about myself? If I don't follow through now, what will that prove maybe to myself, or how will I see myself? And if I still go forth, even though it's sunny, even though all the drinks out there, even though my best friend's going to be there and I know she's going to try and cajole me into having a drink? What if you stuck to your guns and actually said, no, you know what, I'm going to do this. I am going to do Wine-Free Wednesday. How would you feel about yourself then? Right, it is in these opportunities, these little incisive points in time when we create not just our reality, but where we create and redefine and I think just reconfirm to ourselves our identity, right? If I had said, no, I'm not going to bother doing this, it seems like such a harmless thing. When I come live for 10 to 15 minutes, I could have said, I'm just not going to bother. No one will notice. I mean, not all the people show up live. I know lots of people who watch this after the fact. It could have been so easy, and I'm just going to blow it off. I'm not going to bother, right? But that would have said something about me. So I want you to consider, what does listening and going along with your excuses say about you, and who would you be if you didn't just listen to your excuses? Who would you be if you could say, look, I see that as an excuse. I'm pretending it's a reason. I'm pretending it's a valid reason why I'm going back on my plan. You know, one of the best thoughts I offer people when we're in a position where we think we might be changing our plan. So I teach planning, and then of course I teach that 24 hours ahead, and then as we get close to the evening, we then have all the different thoughts, right? Because we're starting to anticipate the drink. And one of the most powerful thoughts I give is, was I so sure this morning that not having a drink tonight, that doing Wine-Free Wednesday was a good idea, and now why am I having such a different thought now? What is the reason for that? Right? And if we can answer that, and then we see at the base of it, it's just we don't like how we feel, and at the base of it, it really is just another excuse, right? That helps us to move forward. So there we go. That's your thought for Wine-Free Wednesday. We don't have to listen to our excuses. We can still go ahead. If anybody is watching and they want to make a comment or a question, ask me a question. If you come to these things, please have your questions. I'm happy to answer the questions. Oh, that's better. I found a ledge to put my phone on. Please do ask me the questions. I'm very happy to answer the questions, as I want to help you to make this one day in the week. Right, we're just going to anoint it Wine-Free Wednesday, and it doesn't matter what's going on, who we're with, how we're feeling, whether the sun's out. Right, this is just going to be a day. We're just going to make this the day when we don't have a drink, and we do that very neutrally. And then this is how you build up this changing relationship. Right, we just decide, and we go forth, and we allow all the feelings. All right, so if anybody has questions, I don't think there are. If you watch this after the fact and you have questions, or you want to share with me what your own personal flavor of excuse might be, how that shows up when you decide you're going to change your mind, let me know. And you know, if you want input, you want questions, you want me to answer that and give you my thoughts, I'm happy to do that. All right, so this was Anna Charles coming to you from Wine-Free Wednesday from, I'm not even sure where I am right now, just checked into a hotel, but not letting my excuses that I could just hop out and not bother doing this. I'm not letting my excuses rule my life. They are not the ones on the bus. And I want to offer that you do not need to have your excuses be the drivers of the bus. You are in control. You are not your brain. All right. If anyone's got questions, I would stay on for a couple ticks longer. If not, then that is your episode of Wine-Free Wednesday this week. And by the way, actually as well, if you have a topic you would like me to cover in one of these little 15-minute bursts, as long as it's something around mindset, around identity, around skills or purpose, which is why we drink, I'd be very happy to dig into it. I'm very, very happy to answer that and create content that works for you. Okay? All right, I guess that's it for now. Have a lovely Wednesday, and I'll see you next week.